Hey everyone, it's Ryan1940, and today we're in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 taking a look at some of the updates that happened in Sim Update 7. This update came out months ago in November of 2021, but in that period, DCS has taken up most of my flying time. As you can see, we're in the F-18 Super Hornet at MCAS Miramar, and we're going to do a quick lap around the field and then transition into the overhead brake to land. Both the Super Hornet and MCAS Miramar were additions to Sim Update 7, and to top it off, this was filmed using the newly added replay feature that also shipped with the update. Now, below us there is Miramar National Cemetery, which is a cemetery open to members of the armed forces and veterans as well as their spouses. We're gonna fly past it as we head out over UTC, La Jolla, and Torrey Pines neighborhoods, and begin our right-hand turn into the upwind leg. Looking down to the bottom part of the screen, you'll see a bit of the nearby university, UCSD. Further up, you'll see the 805 freeway merging into Interstate 5. The 5 runs north and south through San Diego. Initially, it splits off the 805 at the border with Mexico, and then ultimately terminates up at the Canadian border after passing through the rest of California, Oregon, and Washington State. We cross over the 5 after the 805 merge, and we are heading east towards the mountains. We can track the 56 freeway below us to our left, which runs west and east. It is used to connect the 5 and 15 interstates. Switching gears here as we head east, let's talk about the fidelity of the Super Hornet. Coming from the Hornet in DCS to the Super Hornet in Microsoft Flight Sim is understandably underwhelming. The flight model with this aircraft performs bizarrely at high AOAs, the fuel consumption seems off by a large margin, and of course the systems modeling is absolutely simple. It, at the end of the day, is a basic default aircraft for Microsoft Flight Sim. With that being said, I don't fly this jet for any sort of high fidelity satisfaction. However, on those days where I'm really just burned out and want to fly, I do find enjoyment from doing some touch and goes with this at Miramar. I actually lived in this area around Miramar for years, and being able to do what I see flying around in the area in real life is entertaining while not mentally taxing. Below us there is Miramar Lake and the Scripps Ranch neighborhood, and that's actually an area I've lived in. As you can imagine, with its proximity to the air station, we would get some pretty cool flyovers during the Miramar Air Show as the Blue Angels set up for different maneuvers. Typically, in real life, the tactical aircraft don't fly the pattern we were just flying. They will assemble in the east and fly directly over the field heading westbound, coming over these hills on the setup for an overhead brake. The land we are overflying is a military range and stretches east from Miramar for many miles out towards the cities of Lakeside and Santee. Typically, you'll see aircraft coming along this range to land at Miramar, either setting up for a brake or a regular long landing, which you normally see when larger aircraft, like a C-5 Galaxy, come to visit. Passing over Interstate 15, and we are lining up for the brake, enjoying the updated scenery for Miramar. With this update, I'm now hoping to add to my hangar India Fox Echo's F-35. I've started to notice Bravo and Charlie F-35s operating out of Miramar more and more, and it would be cool to be able to fly them as well in this sim. Despite the lackluster flight model, I still enjoy being able to do something I see so often in my commute to and from work along the freeways around Miramar. We come into the brake here, and the jet feels kind of twitchy as we decelerate for our downwind leg, pulling some G's, dropping the flaps, and landing gear. One of the largest modeling errors with the Super Hornet is very evident on landings, or really whenever you change the flaps configuration. The ailerons do not drop with the flaps configuration, and if you're familiar with the Hornet Super Hornet family, you'll notice this instantly. It really bothers me more than it should because I've flown the Hornet so much in DCS and I've seen so many Hornets and Super Hornets in real life as well. I hope one day it gets fixed, but I temper my expectations with the reality that it possibly will never be fixed. We're getting on speed here, and all around us is the city dump. Parts of the land to the south of the air station are old city dumping grounds, and other areas are more active. You'll see some piles behind us on the left side of the aircraft, and that's where garden waste gets turned into mulch, which is free to pick up for use in the community throughout San Diego. Ahead of us is the 163 merging into the 15, and I've traveled that thousands of times. It's usually where I get the best glimpses of aircraft coming into land, and it's just really neat to see something from reality translate so well into the digital world, and that I'm able to shift my perspective from being on the ground to being in the cockpit for landing. Microsoft Flight Sim scenery generation is by no means perfect. It has a ton of artifacts in many areas when you look closely. For instance, you're never going to see the 163 that wide open during rush hour, but the technology making it all work is so promising, and it's something I'm hopeful other sims will look at, even if on a smaller scale in terms of theater maps in the future. As we come around the setup for a landing at runway 24 right, I'm pretty much following the typical path that jets take to land. In fact, you're going to see something that made me chuckle when I discovered it using the replay editor and setting up a camera shot. Now on the next camera change, you're going to see an F-18 baked into the ground texture on the bottom right of the scene. It was most likely captured from satellite imagery while coming into land, and it shows we're not too far off the track from a normal landing, so that's great. For this video, we're just going to land and park, but usually on those days where I do choose to fly like this, I'll end up burning a full tank of gas doing touch and goes in the pattern over and over again. I also fly with the live traffic on and live weather, but I've heard it messes up a recording, so I've left it off for this video. And we are down on runway 24 at Miramar. Landing in this thing feels a little weird. I haven't tried a proper non-flared landing, but I have found the aircraft can settle in almost weird attitudes as you put more weight down on the wheels. It's really strange, and it's almost like in DCS if you were in the hip or the hind, you can use the cyclic and a right amount of collective on the ground, and you're able to tilt your helicopter in odd angles while rolling around on the wheels. As we head to our parking area, you can see one thing captured not very well in Microsoft Flight Sim's Miramar update, that it adds a lot of green huey static aircraft to the airfield. In reality, most of the aircraft are F-35s, F-18s, C-130s, CH-53 Echoes and Kilos, as well as Ospreys. In making this video, it actually sparked my interest to see if there was any better offering out there for Miramar, and I was lucky to find that Latin VFR has made a Miramar product. I think it retails for around $9 or $10 and it's something I'm most likely going to pick up. I saw in the screenshots that it actually has the correct types of static aircraft among some of the improvements, and I have his Kaysan scenery, and it's absolutely worth it in my book, so I'm sure I'll be pretty pleased with his Miramar offering. So with this update, I like the most that there is now a native replay feature to Microsoft Flight Sim. I think there's room for UI improvements, and perhaps a simple replay mode would be beneficial to add. It's been a while since I used it, but I think X-Plane had the best replay feature of all the sims I fly. It was simple and slick to use, you could easily capture different angles and rewind. Now with that, it was up to you to stitch the clips together and make a video with an outside video editor, but it also wasn't without bugs. Usually AI traffic on the roads would just freeze in the replay, and it would be pretty noticeable in some shots. With Flight Sim's replay editor, it's a little bit more involved making camera sequences and using keyframes and all that kind of stuff. It's powerful in the sense where you can make an entire video start to end changing camera positions throughout, but there are downsides. I've had to edit out scenery pop-ins when the camera changes because it's loading it all on the fly. So I can appreciate what it's trying to do, but the execution just isn't there yet, and you still require an outside video editor. And with that, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you all for watching. If you're ever on Microsoft Flight Sim's West Coast servers, we'll probably see each other. I'm always around Miramar or the San Diego area. So take care, and I'll see you later. Bye.